Hello, everyone. We're so delighted to have you join us today. I'm Gail Brechting, a past president of ACB, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this installment of ACB Connects. These sessions are sponsored by the Association of Concert Bands, an international nonprofit organization whose mission is to foster excellence in concert band music through performance, education, and advocacy. We have just a few items before we begin today's discussion. ACB Connects is being recorded. Today's session will be archived along with many other fine resources previously recorded on the ACB Connects page of our website. Now, please take a moment to locate the chat and tell us your name, where you're from, and what band you play in. We welcome your questions. If you have any questions or comments for our guests, please submit them in the chat addressed to everyone, and as many as time allows will be addressed. We will share links and documents in the chat during the session. If you're viewing the recording, these links will appear along with the recording. If you're joining us live, you will be able to see and save the chat. Now, I wanted to tell you that this is our 25th Connects event, and this is our 5th anniversary season. So welcome to ACB Connects. Very nice. I would like you to see our panel. And what we're going to do with our 4 wonderful panelists is have them just introduce themselves briefly. And they're going to tell us a little bit about themselves. And then we'll start with our questions. So I'd like to start with David Leach, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to ACB. I'm David Leach. I'm the director of the Ann Arbor Concert Band in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I also conduct at Blue Lake, and it's a thrill to be here. Gail's a good friend, and getting a chance to connect with all of you and share some really good ideas, and we hope you enjoy. So welcome.
Thank you. And now, Paul Popiel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul. I'm the Dean of the School of Music at the University of Kansas. I was the Director of Bands there for 13 years. I have now been Dean there for 3 years. I conduct the Lawrence City Band in Lawrence, Kansas, and the Crossroads Wind Symphony, a community group of area music teachers. Both bands are ACB members, and honored to be with you today.
Thanks, Paul. Next, Staci Rosbury.
Hi, I am Staci. I am the conductor of the Melbourne Municipal Band in sunny Florida, and I have also taught middle school and elementary school music for many years, and I've been with the MMB for about 16 years now.
Wonderful. Wow. Thanks, Staci. And Stephanie Sugano.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Sugano, and I'm a middle school band teacher in Roseville, California, and I direct the Roseville Community Concert Band.
Wonderful. Welcome, Stephanie. We're glad everybody's here. This is called Oh, That's a Good Idea, Celebrating Successes. And we thought that it would be nice. Most of us like, if we've been doing it a while, we always want to know what's another idea that somebody else does. That's what's fun when we all get together and start talking in a conversation. You know, how do you do this? What did you do for that? And so that's one of the reasons we put this together. Or my committee decided that we wanted to just have some fun and find out what other people are doing all around the United States. So we're going to start with the first question, and we'll go through alphabetically in the order that we just were introduced to our panelists. And so what we'd like to do is we'll start with David, but here's the question. What type of collaboration does your group do in your community? Now we can talk about music collaborations and non-music collaborations, okay?
Well, I would love to talk about that. And literally, I could talk all day, so I might have to get cut off. But one of the great things about living where I live, and that's Ann Arbor, Michigan, is we have such a strong support of music. So we have the University of Michigan School of Music, Eastern Michigan School of Music nearby, the University Musical Society, so major symphony orchestras, jazz ensembles, all come into town. So our constituency, our people who are town, are very well educated. One of the things that we in Ann Arbor Community Band or Ann Arbor Concert Band has to do with it is we try to figure out ways to reach out and try some things that are new. So community-wise, we have the Kindle Fest. So most places call it the Chris Kindle Market. We have that. And that part we have, it's out under the farmer's market. It's outside. The wind is howling. It's snowing. And we have members of our concert band playing festival tunes that are around the holidays. We also perform in the summertime during the summer festival right on Main Street. It's kind of fun to do. Last year, we started a Christmas concert, which was not really the band. It was small ensembles that got together. We were at a nearby church and we packed the house. People showed up and it was just so much fun to see small ensembles come out of that, which and continues to enhance the level of performance in our band because, as everybody knows, small ensembles makes your big ensembles better. The things that we've done non-music wise, and really it's more about collaboration, trying to bring in folks that are outside of the band world, maybe composers, conductors, guests, and friends, to bring them into who we are. We are, as a member of the Ann Arbor Rotary, one of the things that I try to do is to make sure that, along with everything else, that we're being recognized. So next year, as we head into near our 50th anniversary season, I'll speak to the Ann Arbor Rotary, I'll speak to local people and say, hey, we're celebrating a big milestone, and wouldn't you be part of it? So I think that's really important from our aspect. And then a much better digital presence. I think that's the thing that we started to do a lot better at. We now have a social media engagement and people can check in with us, and we're active in social media. So we record parts of concerts and when guests are there, and we record rehearsals. And so along those lines, and in each one of those things are on our website and people can kind of check us out. So I don't want to take too much time, but I could literally talk about this all day long because I think one of the things that we do is we engage with the community that we serve, and we love the community that we serve, and our community is very intellectual and educated, and so they know they're getting a good bang for their buck. We perform in a local theater, the Michigan Theater, downtown Ann Arbor, and it's an old historic theater, lovely. It's also the home of the Ann Arbor Symphony Orchestra. So there's lots of things we've done with school choirs. We've done lots of stuff together, and we just try to make sure we're an integral part of the arts scene in the community of Ann Arbor.
Great. I'm going to ask one question because you have a couple minutes here, and that is, do you do any non-music collaborations at all, or things maybe other music groups? Do you do collaborations with?
It's so funny that you're asking that because I am not in Ann Arbor right now. I am actually in Kitchener, Ontario, because I'm going to be doing a clinic and a workshop with the concert band out of Guelph. And so one of the things that I try to do is I try to make sure as conductor of the Ann Arbor Concert Band and other things that I work with is that we make friends outside of all that. In the community, what we tend to do that's non-musical is we're just kind of getting our feet wet in that aspect of it. But and we'll talk about other creative ideas that we do. But in part of those creative ideas, particularly our concert formats, as we bring people in. So this past concert we did, as many of you in the country know, it's a very important anniversary in our state, the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald, the last sinking of a major boat on the Great Lakes. And so one of the local teachers at Eastern Michigan University, my former professor for theory, wrote a piece called 29 Sailors. And so we had him come. He talked to the audience about what this piece is about. And there was some film that went along with it. Also at this point in time, a very good friend of mine, John U. Bacon, wrote a book about the Edmund Fitzgerald, and we invited John to talk. Unfortunately, he had to be out of town at that point in time. So we try to engage along those things that have to do with what we're doing and how it kind of affects the greater community, and even in our case, the greater state or nation, and how that plays a part. And as we get into concerts, I'll kind of talk about that as well. But I just think it's important that as a part of our community, we stay engaged and we stay visible. I think that's the best thing we do.
Wonderful, David. That was great. Thanks so much. That helps us understand your community a little bit better. Okay, let's hear from Paul also about the collaborations that they do in his community.
We like to do a lot of joint concerts. We've done concerts with middle school bands, high school bands, local or non-local military bands that are passing through. We'll often share the stage with them, maybe do a side-by-side concert and then combine for a piece in between or afterwards. We've been doing that also with some of the various university bands. We're in a college town also. Yeah. The New Horizons band is always a favorite to partner with. We've done that with a couple of brass bands in the area. And then again, with the university, whenever we have soloists or guest conductors or visiting composers, we'll often grab them and use them for community band programs as well. So we try to get a lot of bang for the buck whenever anybody's passing through. But of course, the great thing about sharing with a school band is your audience size doubles quickly. And we love modeling for school age students that band is a lifelong activity and making music together is fun. And it's meant to be something you do for your entire life, not just until you graduate high school. So whenever we can combine with them, we show our joy in our music making and try to share that with our students. The Lawrence City Band plays primarily outside on the main street of our town. There's a central park called South Park that's been there for a couple hundred years, and the band has done concerts there on Wednesday nights for most of those 200 years. But we also do occasional concerts in other venues. One of our non-musical collaborations with the Lawrence City Band is with the Lawrence Public Library. We do a Christmas concert that coincides with their annual book sale. So they were originally looking for ways to drive more people into the library for the book sale, and we're always anxious to share our music with a new audience. So that's turned into an annual tradition now that we play in the public library, and it makes both events better, and there's a lot of foot traffic for both. And some of the other groups that I conduct will also use we'll use our program to play for a charity, raising money for the charity, not for the band, which we'd love to do too. But we've had some great success performing for our Douglas County CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates. It's for children who are in the court system because their parents they've been removed from a troubled home or something like that. So it's a volunteer organization. And we do a concert outdoors that raises money for that charity. We'll also do concerts that are based on historical anniversaries, particularly the Lawrence City Band that's been around for a very long time. We'll celebrate historical anniversaries in the town or in the country. Kansas City is one of the sites for the World Cup this coming summer. And Lawrence is about 40 miles outside of Kansas City, and we'll be hosting one of the teams and all of their fans. We don't know what country yet, but we're going to plan a series of concerts that will feature music from whatever country is hosting for the World Cup. And we'll probably try to find some clever soccer music that we can play as well in that. So those are some of our collaborations and some of the ways we like to collaborate musically and non-musically.
Oh, how exciting. I'm really, that is so cool to get to do some things like that and to have two bands that do so much variety. I'm impressed with the difference in the variety. You're a busy guy along with everything else you try to do. I also want to say, did the Lawrence Band, have they received the Centennial Award from the Sousa Foundation? Because they're over 100 years old, it sounds like.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I'll have
Are
to
they
look
over
into
100? But they are over 100 years old?
Yes, but there's an asterisk because of the history of the town. So that's what I have to check into, Gail.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep bothering you about that because we're trying to find as many as we can in the United States. So wonderful. Well, thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. All right, let's go all the way to Florida and see what Staci has to tell us about what they do in their collaboration.
Well, we do a lot here in Florida where, our life revolves around when the snowbirds are coming and going. And so they all flee the state when it gets too hot in the summertime. And I always feel like, oh, that's when things are going to calm down. But in fact, they don't. That's when we start doing all of our 4th of July concerts. And we have 2 different local churches that we have collaborated with, for a decade or more. We go, in the afternoon and we have a rehearsal with the choir and we do a bunch of combined, America the Beautiful, all the normal stuff you would expect. And we have one rehearsal with them and then we have our concert in the evening. At one of those churches, we do it on the 4th of July. And afterwards, they're right on the river. It's Riverside Presbyterian. So afterwards, right on the river, we have the fireworks and ice cream for everybody. So it's kind of a fun way to spend the evening. At the other church, we are the culminating event for the end of the day. They've had a big festival with games for the kids and barbecue and all that sort of thing. So they finish it off with a big concert and everybody's waving their flags and it's really fun. Another musical collaboration that we have done in the past, there was an organization in town that did something called Brevard's Brightest Stars. This is Brevard County, Florida. And they had high school students who were, it was sort of like a concerto competition. And so I had a great board member who would go out there and scout at these events, and he would bring me back soloists. And once a year, at least in the spring, usually, we would have a feature concert for those students and give them a chance to perform with a large ensemble for a big audience. And that was really fun. And we were able to, give a lot of great experience, soloistic experience to some young kids. So unfortunately, they're not having that event anymore. So it's a little bit harder for me to find those people, but I'm still on the lookout. Another thing we do that's non-musical is every year for our holiday concerts, we've been doing this for years, so people know that we are working with the Brevard Sharing Center to provide food for the local food pantry. So everybody who shows up for our holiday concerts drops off their offering in the hallway or in the lobby outside of the concert and make sure that we are helping out with our community, especially in times like this. It's been pretty difficult for a lot of families lately. One other musical collaboration I wanted to mention, the Melbourne Municipal Band is actually the umbrella organization for several bands. So obviously there's the concert band, which I conduct. Then we have the 321 Jazz Orchestra, and we have a bunch of small ensembles. So we are on board with that small ensembles contributing to the overall, quality of the larger ensembles. But we have many. So one thing we did last year was a prism concert, and we had it set so that we didn't have much time between each ensemble. We moved from each one to, one to the next very quickly. We even included our local New Horizons band in that effort. And at the end of it, we had one of our conductors arranged a piece of music, what was just a lot of fun, a little jazzy, bluesy thing. And we played all 150 plus of us all at the same time. That was a lot of fun.
Wow, that does sound like a lot of fun. And you had some really great ideas. Always fun to hear what everybody has to say about what they do. Thanks, Staci. Okay, so out to California now, and let's find out what Stephanie does for collaborations.
Oh, it's so fun to hear about everybody's collaborations and the different things we do. One thing that I think maybe I haven't heard other people talk about is we host a 2-week band camp in the summer for elementary and middle school aged kids. And we hire all of our local teachers, our middle school and high school teachers who are all excellent. And we get to hang out for a couple weeks and teach. Like around the first week, we have over 100 kids attending. And the second week, which is a jazz week, we have about 70 kids there. But it just gives us a chance to bring all the music educators in our community together and work together and collaborate with them. We've been doing that for about 15 years now. And it's like 2 of my favorite weeks of the year, just because I get to hang out with my people, other music teachers. Just like the others said, we do joint concerts. We do Veterans Day and Memorial Day. We have 3 different veterans groups in our area that we sort of switch off doing. One we always do their Veterans Day show, but there's a couple others that we switch off with Memorial Day. We have done joint concerts with UC Davis and high schools and middle schools and elementary schools. Every year we try to do at least 2 outreach concerts where we will do at least, a joint piece together with them. We hosted an honor band once. We did that. That was pre-COVID, and COVID kind of stopped that after a while, but that might be something that we pick up again. But once again, just reaching out to the kids in the local schools to provide them just something else. And it's always great to show, and this goes for all of us, to show that there is, you could still have a musical life after, after high school or college or wherever is, there's always a place to
Right.
play. So I think that's one of the great things about community bands. Um, we have performed the national anthem at the Sacramento Kings game, the basketball team, the professional basketball team. We've done that before. There's a local television show that's called Good Day Sacramento, and we went on there, I think maybe like 3 years in a row, to provide music for they had this like pre-Oscar party or something, and so we went on there. So that's been just a fun thing. I mean, we didn't really perform all that much music, but just something to get us out there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
as far as non-musical things, we've done like Toys for Tots at Christmas time, where people bring a toy for the concert. I hadn't thought about doing the canned food, but that's a great idea about bringing food into the community. We did a joint concert with the Lesbian Gay Freedom Band in San Francisco. They do a little tour and they came into town. And for that concert, we did a fundraiser for our local LGBTQ health center. And I think we didn't raise a ton of money, but we raised maybe about $1,000 and made a donation, and they came out and thanked us for it. And it was just good to partner with another group, another nonprofit that
Yeah.
does that sort of thing, goodwill and everything. Um, we have provided scholarships for different things. Going back to the band camp thing, the band camp, the kids do pay for it, but we also provide thousands of dollars worth of scholarships every year. Anybody who wants to come to our camp, no matter where they're from or whatever, as long as they're, of age, we give them a scholarship to come. It doesn't really cost us all that much more money to have more kids there. So we think that's really important.
Wonderful. Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
When that got started, or what's the seed money for the scholarships? Or let me ask this: how much money would a student have to pay to come to that week-long jazz camp? Let's just say.
Let's see. We charge, I think, 150 for 1 week, and then if they go to both weeks, it was like 250 or something. I don't know. We gave them a discount for that.
That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I mean, a lot of kids can't afford that. It's pretty inexpensive for a
Okay.
week-long camp. But then for the ones who can't, then we, provide that
And it's
scholarship.
is it a day long, and then they go home, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, no, we don't do the overnight. I don't want them overnight.
All right. Well, very good. Thank you, all of you, for giving us some of the things you do in such a quick nutshell, but it is fun to hear how you do find collaborations in your community. Okay. The next thing we'd like to do, the next question, and we'll start with Paul on this one, is programming creative ideas. What were some of your successful theme concerts and why? Partnership within that community groups, maybe society issues themed, seasonal themes, anniversaries, historical, things along that line, or anything else. Okay, Paul, go ahead.
Yeah. And I might be the worst person ever on themed concerts. Inevitably, when I have a theme concert, it's like 9 pieces that fit perfectly, and then some other pieces that are off theme always. But in generalities, the Lawrence City Band in particular loves to have themed concerts. One of the concerts we'll often do that's not part of our regular season coincides with Art in the Park. That is a municipally based art exhibit and craft show that's in the same park where we normally perform. And so it's always fun to find music that, pictures at an exhibition arrangement or things like that that go along with that. And I'm convinced no one in the audience notices we're doing that, but I find it clever and entertaining for myself. I mentioned the World Cup. That's got us excited for this summer. We often will do an extra concert for the city around 4th of July. That'll be sort of simulcast with fireworks. So we try to pick music that fits with patriotic and fireworks themes. one of our more popular concerts that kind of fell out of favor, but we're talking about bringing back this year is a children's concert that Bob Foster started years ago. And we'll have, before the concert and during the concert, we'll have clowns and face painting and a balloon animal artist. But the feature of that towards the end of the program is a children's parade, always traditionally led by the drum major at the University of Kansas in full regalia, and then all the children march through the park in and around the audience while the band plays a medley of marches that's 5 or 6 minutes long. That's always a lot of fun. For everyone that hasn't thought of this yet, if your band works in the summer, this coming 4th of July is the semi-quincentennial. I had to look that up, but it's the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country. So we are working hard right now to put together a concert with a mass choir. We have a children's choir in our town, a couple civic choirs, and all the church choirs. We're trying to get all of them together to put together a program that we'll do the week of 4th of July and on 4th of July. But those are some of the ideas we have going around right now.
That is a really cool idea. Great, great, great. Wonderful. Okay, Paul. So let's now ask Staci the same questions about her programming, creative programming ideas.
All right. Well, I live on the Space Coast, and I can see the rockets launch from my driveway. So we love a space theme for a concert, and we've done several different varieties of that. But one of the ones that we did several years ago was Winston Scott is a local astronaut. He flew on, I think, the Columbia space shuttle. He's on faculty at Florida Institute of Technology, but he also plays the trumpet. So we invited him to come play as a soloist at one of our concerts. And then he talked to the audience about what is it like to be in space. And that was just incredible. And he has such a way of describing it. So that was a really amazing experience. And we were able, to tie in some of those important elements in our community. We did another space concert last season, Space, the Final Frontier. And one of our band members went, on NASA's website, they have a bunch of free pictures that you can get of all kinds of gorgeous, astronomical things. And we put together a slideshow for that. And instead of putting it doesn't matter how we set it up, but we had the slideshow over the band and we turned out all the lights. And I got to tell you, my people, they get a big kick out of one, having an excuse to wear a costume to a concert, and two, turning off all the lights and just playing with our stand lights so that we could really see the pictures. This was so fun. I don't know why. One of my friends in the band went to Disney. She's a huge Disney fan. And she bought me these light up chopsticks, which are shaped like little lightsabers, but they were perfect to conduct with. And they light up different colors. So I would pick an appropriate color for whatever we were doing. Like when we did Mars, of course, it had to be red. And, it could be red, blue, green, whatever. But the audience just got a great kick out of that. And it was, a little interactive thing. You had something to look at besides just, us sitting on stage doing our thing as we do. But, do something a little different, play in the dark. We're all big children. We just want to have fun.
Exactly. Wonderful. Those are great ideas. Just looking around and, where you are and how to do that. Very impressive. Thank you. Staci. Stephanie, tell us a little bit about some of your fun things you do.
I'd say that our biggest thing that we've done, or different thing, is we do a silent movie concert every year. And I've talked about this in a previous ACB Connects, but basically I was asked, I think it was maybe 8 or 9 years ago, probably about 9 years ago, if we wanted to do one of those oh, here's a silent movie around Halloween time, and would you like to put music with it? It would be so easy to just do. And so I've sort of taken on that project. Every summer I don't write the music, but I'll score concert band music with a silent movie. And there's, hundreds of public domain movies, wonderful movies that have just sort of, they don't get seen very much anymore. And they're usually around, 60 to 90 minutes. So it's not too long. And what I do is I put concert band music and concert band music plus like piano music. So we'll have our band and we'll have a pianist, and we'll perform a film and play music with it. So I think we've done about 9 things, and we play at our local senior retirement communities, and other places too. And that's been a really cool thing. The band really loves it. They always want to know, like, oh, what's the next movie? What's the next movie? And yeah, so that's our next thing. I'm working. The latest one we're doing is Steamboat Bill Jr., which is this Buster Keaton movie that was actually filmed in Sacramento. So,
Oh,
which is where I am right now, or Roseville, California is just outside of Sacramento. So from like 100 years ago, it's from 1928. So it's kind of cool to just bring something, an old piece of art back to life and adding some music to it. So, and
wow. That's
back then they would just have like an organist improvise music over the film. So to just do it all planned out, it's been really fun, and the audiences love it, and yeah, and so does the band. So.
I want to ask you, how many weeks of rehearsal do you have once you start the rehearsals for the movie?
I probably about 6 weeks at least, six
Okay.
to 8 weeks, maybe
Normal.
more than that, depending on how much time we have. So, and some of the tricks of doing the silent movie is that you use a lot of the same music over and over again. So I have a friend who is a film composer, and he and I, when I first got this idea brought up to me, I said, "Well, how do I do that?" And he said, "Okay, well, pick music that goes with the characters of the film. So like have a theme or music that goes with like the leading lady, or that goes with the male, or the love theme, or the fights themes. And whenever those come up, just bring that music back. So it's very
Sure.
repetitive, and but yeah, it's fun. It's fun and interesting. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the way that they do that all the time. I mean,
Ah,
the opera did all of that. I mean, that's not out of the ordinary for sure. Well, thank you, Stephanie. I'm glad you had the chance to talk about that, because I know that's been a big thing that a lot of people appreciate and haven't really done too much of in the band world anyway. David, it's your turn, please.
Well, again, here I could talk all day about the stuff. Paul, I'm sorry, I am a big fan of thematic material. So I'll get to kind of all that as we get to it. So partnerships, one of the things that we do is we try to reach out to people in our community that can benefit, and we can kind of bring them in. So when we hit 45 anniversary, we want to do some big shindig at the Hill Auditorium. So as many of you don't know, at the University of Michigan, Hill Auditorium is the big auditorium. It's in fact world famous, and it was Leonard Bernstein's second favorite place to play. So it's a very famous place. So we went there, and we had a local organist, a fabulous Dr. Nick Kripkins Sung, join us, and we played, Bach, Beethovenish kind of big endings. We love to do things like that. Partnerships. We also have partnered with all of our local high school choirs, so we'll do some big work, and we'll bring the choirs, all of them, and sometimes in pieces. We've done that as well. One of the things that we do, we also have a concerto competition, the Dave Juliet and Andrew Lum Concerto Competition. So every spring, one piece of music in our last concert in May has a concerto finalist with us, and there's a scholarship that goes with it. So applications go live. We have a committee that I have nothing to do with, so I don't sit in, I don't screen. And in fact, none of the band, we bring in outside screeners. They choose one, and they get 4 rehearsals or 3 or 4 rehearsals with the band, and then we get to feature them as part of our concert, and they get money, which is like the big incentive. So it's been a huge
Wow.
success. David was a local music seller, and Andrew died from one of our local high schools here on Ann Arbor Huron. He died young and seeded that scholarship. Societal themes. So again, I'm a huge theme fan. So 2 years ago now, I started a program called Shattered Glass. As many of you know, there are so many incredible people that are composing and conducting that don't fit the dead white guy norm. And so trying to do that was something that was important to me. I have lots of friends. Actually, the conversation started with my former assistant, Erin Littleforth. She said, female band directors get lower ratings. Let me show you how that kind of figures out. And I was heartbroken, right? that women tend to get lower ratings and people tend to look down on female composers. So I thought, okay, Shattered Glass, Women and Winds. So I invited Pam Klenna from Oakland and Courtney Snyder from Michigan. I invited, oh gosh, who else was with us on this? Oh, Aaron Littleforth conducted. And then over from Western Michigan University, it's going to come to me in a second. It'll come in a second. Came in and conducted all female. So it was all female conductors, all female composers. And it was just magnificent. Last year, we did Color of the Winds. So all Black composers and Black conductors that came out of the Detroit area. So they came in, we did Come Sunday, we did music from up in Michigan State. We brought down Ben Horn, who did a really lovely piece of the spiritual for band. And it was just so well received. And my members of that were like, this concert changed my perspective. Right, that we did this concert. And so this year it's Winds of Change, and we're going to do LGBTQ. We're going to feature all of those. We'll have conductors that are either part of the LGBT community and or allies. We're gonna start with West Side Story, of course, because I think Leonard Bernstein represented every part of that in his world. And then we'll go from there and play music from Rossano Galante and some other really great composers that are part of all that. Going back to my thematic material, Paul, I started this with the original Fab Four. Do any of you know who the original Fab Four are? Not the Beatles. It's Granger, Holst, Vaughan Williams, and Jacobs. So we made sure we did the original British Fab Four. I did Hooked on Classics, or String Envy or String Theory. So we did all these string orchestrations. This year, I did, after watching TV, I watched The Americas. And so I was so thrilled by that whole watching life that took place all the way up in Alaska, all the way down to so I did a concert of the Americas. So we started up in Canada with some music that represents the Cree Nation. I'm in, some of you know, I'm right now in Canada getting ready to do a clinic with another band, and my colleague who runs this band, her name is Lauren Helmer from the Guelph Concert Band. She said, you should do this piece of music as an award winner. It's Cree. And then we went all the way down. We did the 29 sailors that passed away in Evan Fitzgerald. We came all the way down into San Antonio dances. We did all the way into Mexico, then all the way down into, we ended with Libertadores by Oscar Navarro, which was the whole Amazon River basin. So it's kind of, I like to have that idea, something that kind of ties it all together. And yep, Paul, just like you, I will do a piece of music that has nothing to do with it, but I can plug it in somehow. If you just let me give me a second. So this next concert, we're doing Mars. And I thought, and we're doing the entire set. So as many of you know, the entire set of Mars was commissioned, but that's not a full concert. So we're going to do a Aegean Overture. But remember, part of the planets were named after the Greek gods. So it fits somehow. So we're going to open kind of in that process. And my band was as thrilled to get part of that. We've had Jason Fettig conduct. We've had Michael Haithcock conduct. We've had John. We've had John Pasquale conduct. We're going to have Richard Fry, who's all out of Michigan. We've had Mary Snyder, who's at Eastern Michigan University, come in. We've had Scott Bormer from Western Michigan University. We bring in all of those people for sometimes their work and sometimes everything else, but we want to make sure that we involve everybody. And so we think it's, I'm so lucky I live in a community where band is like the center. I mean, U of M, Bill Ravelli, seriously, that's kind of the epicenter. So, it's still kind of the epicenter of, yeah. And so we take advantage of that and we find all of our resources. Don't worry, Gail, you're coming out to conduct soon.
Oh, okay, sure. I think you need to get Paul in there and force him to theme something. Oh, Dave, your community and all of you are so fortunate to have such excited people in their communities. Well, that was great. Thank you all for talking about the program Creative Ideas. Now, a quick little commercial. This is a little thing that ACB has, and it tells a little bit about all the things that we have in our resources. However, you can go to the website, and all you have to do is find ACB Connects, and it'll have all 25. Soon, this one will be on there. One of the things that we did in 2022, shortly after our convention in Santa Fe, New Mexico, was we had engaging audiences with Captain Christina Muncie, and she, with the Air Force, she did a fantastic talk and did actually a resource, an ACB resource, about the next question. And the next question is, and we'll start with Staci, is do you use any interactive audience experiences, such as resources before, during, or after your concert or event?
Well, the biggest interactive thing we've ever done is back in 2013, Florida was celebrating its 500th anniversary of Ponce de Leon landing here and naming it La Florida. So we put on Viva La Florida concerts. I chose all kinds. Let me tell you about stretching a theme to its limits. You know, you want to put on a theme concert about Florida. I mean, luckily, I mean, we've got Disney, we've got space, we've got a lot of things to draw on, but that was really, really an interesting concert. But the interactive thing we did is before the concert, we put on our concerts in the Melbourne Auditorium, which has big wings on either side of where the audience are seated. And so it's a huge area that we use to our advantage. We invited gosh, we had all kinds of people. We had artists like the Highwaymen that are very famous in Florida for producing art. They were displaying, selling, and they were actually painting in our display. So we had this whole thing set up where the audience could come early and check out all the displays. We had NASA, we had the Florida Native Plant Society, we had space photography and NASA displays, the Florida Lighthouse Foundation, Florida State Parks. We just had everything that we could think of that had anything to do with Florida. And they were there. It was really great to get to walk around and see the art and the different people and talk to people. And, you know, I mean, I primarily have an old white audience. Let's just be honest. They are 70, 65, 70, 75 and up. And they are old white people and we love them. But you know what? You invite some highwaymen in, and that is a different thing. And we brought in new and different kinds of diverse audience that we had not had before. And it was really successful. It was some of the biggest concerts that we've ever had. We always do our concerts twice because way back in the way when, there was never enough room in the auditorium to fit everybody in one concert. So it always had to be twice. And we have kept up that tradition because the city likes us to do it, and that's what we do. So we put that on, and that was really a good time. It was good to see so many people at the concert who normally wouldn't have been. Another little thing, I mean, just a little way to have your audience interact during a concert. We recently did one called Sway With Us, which is all dance themes. I'm all about themes too. You got to get on board, Paul. We always have a theme, and then we have a tagline, and then we have a paragraph description, for the marketing people. So like one of the ones we have coming up is Tales of Passion. No, it's called Love Notes, Tales of Passion. So, we're always working on the theme thing. But a recent one was called Sway With Us on the dance theme. We had a local studio come in, and this particular group of dancers was actually all homeschool dancers. So they had flexible schedules more than most, and they were able to come in. We put the band on the floor. We left the stage empty, and they danced for the audience while we played, which was really, really exciting. And one of the pieces we did was What a Wonderful World. And during that, I invited the audience to grab somebody next to them and stand up and slow dance in the aisle. And I just thought that was sweet.
That is sweet. That is super sweet. Wonderful. Those are all great ideas. Stephanie, let's share a few that you might have that has to do with the interactive audience experience.
I have thought and thought, we haven't really done a whole lot of those. We try to engage the audience as much as possible. We've done some trivia, like for 4th of July. We'll do one 4th of July, we did like a bunch of American television themes, and we had like questions about or movie trivia or television trivia or whatever, and then we would have like a little quiz. When we did like American history, and the audience, and like in between pieces we would try to connect it with whatever we were playing, and the audience filled out a little. We were at a retirement center or community, and they filled it out with paper and pencil. We just passed paper and pencil out at the beginning. Oh no, it is in the program. And to fill it out, and then we had like a big gift basket. So during intermission, they would turn in their forms, and we would pick a winner for that. And they seemed to really enjoy it. It was just it was something just cheap and easy, but the audience got really engaged with it because who doesn't love winning free things, you know? I mean, just in concerts, we try to do like sing-alongs here and there, or, you know, something where they would have to be part of. Every so often we'll do, you know, well, we do the silent movie thing. So that involves putting a film up or other things like that. Or just try to do fun music. We did Godzilla Eats Las Vegas, the Whitaker piece, and we had we brought out like some of those blow up like T-Rex and no, blow up Godzilla doll and an Elvis impersonator come out and they fought because that's what they do in that piece. But as far as like regular interactive things, I don't know. I'm writing down all the ideas I hear here today. So
Yes, aren't we all? Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. I really appreciate it. Dave, let's hear what you do in Ann Arbor that has to do with the interactive audience experiences, if you have any.
Well, it actually started this last concert, and I'm going to be interested to see what happens. We brought in someone to talk about one of the works we're doing, and in academia, there's lots of times when the conductor will have a pre-concert talk about kind of what they're doing, and I'm interested to see if that's something that our audience would be engaging with. A lot of people showed up, and the band actually came out and sat and listened because of what Professor Zirk was talking about. So one of the things that I would like to find out is if that's something that was normal and something that in our community would play well. Why we chose the music that we chose and what we tend to do. From an audience participation stuff, it's not really anything that we've kind of gotten into. We've started to tweak ideas and see if a non-paper program, but our programs are so diverse and rich. And everybody loves the paper one, so there's lots of things for us to kind of process. We've not, and again, like everybody else, I'm writing down what I think are brilliant ideas that we could use, and I think members of my board are on this call and watching because they want to see what's going to go on, and I'm sure we'll talk about ideas to kind of bring audience participation in. I am not a big fan of directors talking for me personally because no one wants to hear me talk, but they've asked me to say more, and so I think in that case, give them something to kind of not just somebody in a black suit walking up waving, but kind of talking about what we're doing. And so I do interject some small stuff, anecdotal pieces of information, but would they want more information? So it's something we're talking about and something that I will certainly consider. And I'm always looking for great ideas because I think, as I told the band, they help pick music. And I don't know if you guys do that. I have people that come in and we talk about that stuff and I come with an idea and they bring ideas to the table because I think it's their band. It's not just the artistic director and conductor. These people have spent lifetimes getting ready and to play. And so I love having many people at the table. I think it's better for me as a human being. And I learn new stuff. One of the students at this America's concert we did, one of my band members who's in the profession, he's a band director, had never played anything that we played. He goes, that was the most rewarding thing because I didn't know any of it. And so I think those are things that we tend to look at and talk about. So yeah, that's what we do.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. There's a couple things in the chat that I encourage you to look at, everyone. Staci put another thing in and a few other ones that are really very, very good. So feel free to put things in the chat and take a few minutes to look at it. And I will encourage you again that, Dave, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. I just want to make sure in the chat, I want to make sure I did not forget Mary Land, who conducted on my Women's and Wins concert, because she's a genius. Some of you know her. She's so great. I didn't want to not put her in there, so I want to make sure I gave her a special shout out.
Thank you, Steve. And I will continue to mention to you to go into our resources. Obviously, if you're here, you're looking for new ideas and different kinds of things. And for this whole thing with the interactive, I encourage you to go in and look at the one with Captain Muncie. Let's go to Paul and find out what they do, if anything, with the interactive audience experiences.
We have a couple things, and some of these are probably common with lots of other programs too, but we started doing a program, a QR code that we would just post around the park. And we got complaints from some of the older patrons that would prefer to have paper. So we do both now. But the benefit of the QR code is we can do program notes and we can advertise our website and our social media accounts and encourage people to follow. We also started just a couple of years ago putting a donation link in with that QR code once you look that up. And we were shocked. We're generating a couple $1,000s every concert that was just on a lark, we threw up the donation mark. So that QR code, though it gets some resistance from some of the audience, can be a really useful tool. And when the people access your website and your social media, they tend to follow and know when other concerts are and that sort of thing. One of my favorite things is new music, and we have several composers in the band, several published composers. Grace Bogger Dunlop has had several pieces, young female composer who attended K-State, lives in the area, and she regularly plays in a couple of our bands, and we love doing pieces by her. Sometimes she'll guest conduct, talk about her piece. Stuart O'Neill is another published composer and a band director in the area who plays in both of my ACB groups. Of course, Jim Barnes has written pieces for both of those groups and is a regular attendee. And Tom DeVoren, he just won the Ostwald Award this year for his euphonium concerto, but he and Jim also live in Lawrence and are regular attendees. And it's great at a city band concert in the park to have people go up and meet the composer. That's such a neat thing that doesn't happen very often. And they don't really know that these are world famous composers. They just know, oh, it's neat, you wrote a song for the band. But that kind of interaction is really remarkable to watch.
Yeah. Wow. Those are wonderful ideas. I mean, you expound on what you have that maybe others don't, but you just let people have the chance to get to know other people. Those are all very, very fantastic. And we have gone, I conduct the West Michigan Concert Winds, and we have gone to a card this size. Notice the ACB logo, everybody. And here it has the program so that you can see the program. But of course, the QR code, which does all the things that that you have all spoken about. The one thing I miss is you do have to do it. And you have to kind of open your brain to saying it's okay to have your phone out. It's okay to be looking at it, doing these things. You have to get that. But our audiences, even though most of us still have a lot of old white people at our concerts, we are getting a lot of younger white people now and all kinds of folks, not just white, I'm sorry, to our concerts. And so consequently, I think that we have to start doing some of the types of things that have to do with the interactive. Because I think the younger people, we did a survey, and the younger people were saying, why aren't you doing this? This makes sense. This is what we do. So we gave it a try, and financially, it's a lot cheaper to go with these cards than it is to do all of the big programs as well, just for our comments. So thank you, all of you, to talk about the interactive audience experiences. I am going to do one more round, question-wise, and I'm going to skip down to number 5, those of you on the panel. Number 5 is promotions. Share how you do how do you creatively promote your group to your community? There's obvious ways. There's the local paper, the events calendar, radio, TV, but do you have any untraditional ways that you might do it? And we'll make this a little bit quicker. So maybe in a minute or two, you can talk about that if possible. And I think we are now to Stephanie to start, please.
Promotion is not my my forte. Social media now, I mean, we used to print posters and do all that stuff, but we just stopped that completely. And I guess we've done postcards before for our Christmas concert, but mainly just social media now. And that's how we do our blasts. So, yeah.
And do you have some kind of artwork that you always have for all of your concerts that you use in your social media?
I for those of you who don't know Canva, like it's a great resource and it's actually free to teachers. I have this paid subscription, but we make like it's such a wonderful what is it called? Graphic design program where you can make beautiful programs and postcards and all that stuff on. So social media posts for the most part, word of mouth.
Good.
Emails.
Okay, and I'm going to ask each of you this question to finish with on this as you say it, and then the last part of it, I want to know: do you do most all of it yourselves, or do you have someone in your team that does this when it comes to the social media?
I do a lot of it myself, but no, we have a board of directors that take on responsibilities of other things. But as far
Great.
as, as far as promotion, like, yeah, no, we're always looking for people to help out wherever we
Yeah,
can.
absolutely. Okay. Dave, what do you do in Ann Arbor
Well,
with
I
social
think
media?
think Stephanie hit that on the head. I think we do have a social committee that does social media, and so and as we've gotten younger members of the band and new members of the band since my arrival, so I arrived recently. I think I'm on my fourth season, and I was a high school band director for 35 years. So I taught in Ann Arbor Public Schools. I was the director of bands at Ann Arbor Pioneer High School, and we traveled all over the world. And I was also the director of bands at Ypsilanti. So I mean, I've got lots of work with that. And so what I found as being an artistic director conductor that's best use of my talent, and we have an amazing board. They meet regularly. They have a summer getaway where they're intensive and they're trying to process that stuff out. We've added logos and we've hired local people to redevelop our logo. So we have a new logo that came out after our 45th anniversary. And the 45th anniversary was huge. Again, it was at Hill Auditorium, not Michigan Theater. And that continued to drive more social media posts. And our social media posts are not just another picture of our concert, but it's an actual part of our rehearsal. And we'll have pictures of who's conducting if there's a guest conductor, and we'll encourage them to share. I share everything on my social media. So as the concerts go up, and on social media, and please feel free to look on Facebook and the Ann Arbor Concert Band stuff. There's something that comes out in the weeks leading to it. There's a little piece of each performer conductor we're doing. There's all these kinds of small things that are part of it that lead up to the concert. And at the concert, I mean, we really it's such a great community for band, music in general, arts in general in Ann Arbor. And so we see lots of support through that. And so, all of us wear bling, all of us showcase that. I mean, we're really proud of who we are. And in that pride
Good.
kind of exudes. And so, no, I do not do other than reposting. So I'm actively involved in reposting and I'm actively involved in sharing with everybody that's there. But the content comes out of the people that are inside the rehearsal structure and inside the board. And I couldn't be more grateful for our board of directors because they're okay. I'm going to say it a word. I hope none of you are offended. They're all band nerds and they love the band nerd world. And they're like, this stuff is a thrill to them. And sharing being band nerds with other band nerds I mean, who's more nerdy than all of us? Look at the four of us. Holy mackerel. Paul, jump on the theme situation. We love you. Please don't. We've thrown you under the bus a lot. But you're again a supreme band nerd, right? We're all in here kind of celebrating each other's achievements. So we love everything that we do. And by the way, I'm stealing so much from all of you because what's the highest form of flattery? Theft. Well, not God, good idea sharing.
Right. All right, Paul, you rebuttal.
I had a great idea. I think it was from Stephanie. I think it was a theme suggested, cheap and easy. I have a lot of ideas there. Yeah. We have a lot of the same publicity ideas. We sometimes will take some ads out with the local NPR station, which goes well. Some of our concerts are broadcast on local AM radio, and they'll run ads for our concerts. I mentioned the Lawrence City Band does concerts downtown in South Park, and we have found all the businesses that are adjacent to South Park love to have a poster up, and they also love knowing they're going to have a lot more business on Wednesday nights around that time. So getting the poster at the beginning of the season alerts them that the ice cream shop is going to be swamped for the next 8 weeks on Wednesdays at 7:00. And we do this in partnership, the Lawrence City Band with Parks and Rec, and they do a lot of great advertising for us. But David, I think you really hit on the head with the social media, having clips of the band in rehearsal and guest conductors conducting and a singer singing and like actual live clips from rehearsal really helps drive audience interest and lots of shares. And I do almost none of it. We have volunteer boards for both Crossroads Wind Symphony and Lawrence City Band that do terrific work that makes all this possible.
Thank you, Paul, so much. That's great. Staci, please tell us about you, how you do all that.
Unlike these gentlemen, I do way too much of it myself. For some reason, I built the website. I send out the emails to the people. We're posting on Facebook. I need help. Help me, somebody. So one of my goals this year is to do less administrative work and more musical work. So I am working on that. That's my goal. Like I said, the MMB is a big organization. We have lots of musical groups that play in it. So we have a committee. We have a dedicated marketing director and a designer. We have a graphic for each show that we're going to do that goes along with our title and our tagline, whatever it is. So the marketing committee, in the summertime, we are producing all of the things that need to go out for the whole season. It's a huge spreadsheet. It's a lot of information. putting it all the community calendars, radio, all the places. We do a lot of podcasts and private or public radio interviews. One thing we did last year was we did smartphone banner ads through our local newspaper, and it really increased the number of people who clicked through and went to our website. But I can't tell that anybody showed up in the seats because of that. But we have a really good marketing committee, graphics team. Now I just need more people to come and do the work so I don't have to do it all.
There you go. Wow. I don't know about you, but if you're anybody that's been watching this, or those of you who will watch it eventually, the excitement in these four people's voices as they spoke about their ensembles and all the things, and the way I'm personally feeling of how much I would love to tell you some things that I do. This is what it's about. This is why, this is the fuel that we always have that keeps us going. So I want to first of all thank all of our special guests for sharing with us today. Staci, Rosbury, Stephanie Sugano, David Leach, and Paul Popiel. We're so excited that you are part of ACB, number one, and that you are doing so many wonderful things within your community. I'd also really like to give a special thanks to my entire ACB Connects team. We can't do this without you. You do make a big difference. We're planning another roundtable presentation on Sunday, February 8th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the topics of geographical band comparisons. How is it done in your community? And this is intended for 3 different sizes: smaller communities, mid-sized communities, and metro communities, to share how they operate within their environment. Watch for the announcement of this event, as well as an upcoming spring interviews with notable leaders in our music community. Your ACB 2026 convention is April 15th through 19th in Baltimore, Maryland. Music Meets History in Charm City with Dr. Alfred Watkins. Dr. Alfred Watkins is the conductor and founder of the Cobb Wind Symphony in Atlanta, Georgia. Everything happening at the convention is now posted on the event website at acb2026.org. And we hope you'll join us. It's going to be a great convention. The ACB partner band is the Hunt Valley Wind Ensemble. Also, mark your calendars for the 2027 convention being held in Denver, Colorado in May 19 through 23 of 2027. And it's titled Where Music Meets the Mountains. That ACB partner band is the Denver Concert Band. Coming up soon, the ACB Regional Connection in the Northwest is in Sequim, Washington, way out on the West Coast. This summer, July 24 and 25 of 2026. And the registration opens soon on December 1st, 2025 by going to the ACB website. The holidays are fast approaching, so you might consider giving the gift of an ACB membership. It's a perfect gift for any musician, young and old. It is also your ACB membership renewal time and the election of board members. This is a reminder to vote before December 5th and send in your renewal membership by December 31st to stay a current ACB member. For the links mentioned today and to access all previously recorded sessions of ACB Connects, please visit our ACB website on our homepage, acbands.org. We'd also love to have you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Spotify, and to have you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for being with us today for this very special opportunity to form new connections. We look forward to having you join us again in February at the ACB Connects. Have a wonderful holiday season making music. Bye-bye.